They told you that avoiding sacrifice was smart. Work just enough, spend just enough. Enjoy comfort. But here's the scandal. Comfort is the prison that keeps you broke. Millions waste their lives running from the very thing that could set them free. Sacrifice. Because the system loves obedient workers who fear pain, but secretly, every wealthy person you admire has one thing in common. They embraced sacrifices the rest of the world avoids. And that's the paradox. The shortcut to freedom is hidden in the very struggle most people run from. Quick question. Have you ever felt stuck, like you're doing everything right, but still going nowhere? Write it in the comments. Your answer might wake someone else. Stay with me, because in this video, I'll expose why running from sacrifice keeps you chained, and how turning toward it could be the only real way out. And if you already feel the anger building, that's a sign. Smash a like right now so more people wake up to this truth. Most people believe sacrifice is the enemy of happiness. They think avoiding struggle means they're winning at life. But that's the biggest lie ever sold. Look around. The majority live paycheck to paycheck, chasing small pleasures while running from discipline. They avoid saying no to dinners out, the new phone, the little treats, yet complain about being trapped in the same cycle year after year. Here's the paradox. What feels like freedom in the short term is actually slavery in the long run. Because every time you dodge sacrifice, you chain yourself tighter to the system that feeds on your fear of discomfort. That's why most never build real wealth. They confuse stability with progress. A steady salary, some bills paid, maybe a bit saved, but deep down, they know one unexpected hit, a medical bill, a lost job, an emergency, and it all collapses. Be honest, have you ever felt that fear? That you're only one step away from disaster? Drop a yes in the comments, not just for me, but so others realize they're not alone. And here's the brutal truth. Avoiding sacrifice doesn't protect you. It guarantees you stay stuck. Because comfort today is the tax you'll pay tomorrow. If this is already hitting a nerve, pause for half a second and tap subscribe. Not for me, but to remind yourself you refuse to live in denial like the rest. Because what's coming next will shake you harder than this. After escaping raw survival, most people enter the second comfort disguised. It looks good from the outside. You finally have a little extra. Maybe you can go out to dinner, upgrade your phone, take a vacation on credit. People around you clap and say, "You've made it." But here's the scandal. You haven't escaped the trap. You just decorated the cage. Debt becomes the fuel for your lifestyle. Credit cards, loans, endless payments, and while you think you're moving forward, you're only running in place, working harder not for freedom, but for interest rates and bills that never end. This is why so many stay stuck here forever. Because it feels better than pure survival, but it's still slavery. You get just enough comfort to keep you quiet, and just enough fear to stop you from rebelling. And here's the brutal paradox. The very stability society applauds is the slow death of big dreams. You stop hungering for more. You settle for almost enough. And little by little, your fire burns out. Quick challenge. Type in the comments what comfort costs you every month. That one expense you know keeps you trapped. Sometimes just writing it makes you see the chain that's been there all along. And if this is waking you up, don't just nod along, hit like right now, so YouTube pushes this truth to more people who are trapped in this same fake comfort. Because the system's biggest trick is not keeping you in pain, it's keeping you comfortable enough to never escape. This is where the system plays its most dangerous game. You're no longer just surviving. You're not drowning in visible debt. You actually feel responsible. You've got savings, a retirement plan, maybe even some discipline with your money. From the outside, it looks like you're winning. But here's the paradox. You're not moving forward. You're standing still. It's like being on a ship anchored in the middle of the ocean. You're not sinking, but you're not going anywhere either. And the cruel part? You don't even realize you're stuck, because everyone around you applauds your stability. The hidden scandal is this. Your money loses value every single day, while the banks grow richer, lending it out at higher interest than they ever pay you. Inflation silently eats your savings like termites gnawing at wood. What you call security is really erosion in slow motion. And once you get comfortable here, your ambition dies. You stop learning, you stop risking, you stop building. You trade your hunger for a routine, and that routine becomes a coffin you lie in while still alive. Let me ask you, do you know someone who brags about their savings, but deep down you feel they'll never escape mediocrity? Drop a comment with, "I know that person," and if it hurts because it's you, write it anyway. Truth is step one. And if you're still here watching, it means you're not like the majority. So do yourself a favor, hit subscribe right now. Because the next levels I'm about to expose aren't things you'll hear in school, from your boss, or even from your parents. Because this isn't just a stability trap, it's a graveyard where dreams go to die. This is the turning point. For the first time, money stops being a fragile thing you hide in a bank account and becomes a weapon. Picture two people with the same salary. One keeps depositing every cent into a savings account, praying for safety. The other takes a slice and invests in knowledge, in assets, in a small business, in anything that grows. At first, it looks stupid, reckless, even irresponsible. But that's only because the majority is blind to the long game. Here's the scandal no one wants to admit. Saving feels safe, but it's the most expensive mistake of your life. Because while you cling to the illusion of protection, time is destroying your money. Meanwhile, the one who dared to move plants, seeds that will one day become forests. This level demands something the system never teaches: strategic patience, the discipline to water the tree while everyone else laughs at you for wasting your effort. But then comes the day when that tree bears fruit, and the difference between you and them becomes irreversible. And here's where the resistance hits hardest. Your family, your friends, your co-workers will call you crazy. They'll tell you to be safe, to not play with money. What they really mean is, stay trapped with us, because your freedom threatens the comfort of their chains. If this is hitting you, don't just nod, smash the like button so this message spreads to more people trapped in false safety. And tell me in the comments, have you ever been called crazy in a risk? This is the rebellion most never met, not because it doesn't work, but because it's lonely, choosing to be misunderstood today so you can be free. That's the brutal break of level 4. This is where the trap becomes lethal, because it looks like success. You've got a decent salary, maybe a car, maybe a house, some savings in the bank. You compare yourself to people still struggling in survival mode, and you think, I've won, I'm safe. But here's the brutal truth. You didn't win. You just walked into the most seductive prison of all. The system sells you stability as the ultimate prize, because it knows you'll stop fighting once you get it. Banks love this. Employers love this. Even society cheers you on. Look, he's responsible. He's successful. He's one of us. But behind the applause, there's a silent execution happening. Your money still doesn't work for you. It's chained to your labor, your hours, your productivity. You don't own freedom. You just built a nicer cage. And the cruel irony? Millions spend 40 years here, only to realize too late that their house is a drain of taxes and repairs, their savings are dust against inflation, and their retirement plan buys them barely enough to survive. Not enough. Quick pause. If you're starting to feel that sting in you, that anger, don't channel it. Hit like right now, so the algorithm pushes this wake up to someone who's stuck in stability. Because here's the scandal. This level gives you just enough to silence your rebellion, but never enough to liberate you. It feeds you drops of water so you never die of thirst, but you'll never taste real abundance either. And what's worse, once you have something to lose, fear becomes your new master. You guard your prison with your own hands. That's why the 5th level isn't just dangerous, it's the cemetery where ambition is buried alive. This is the turning point, the level most people never even imagine exists. Because here, money finally stops being a prisoner of your effort and becomes a weapon. Think about it. While the majority spends their entire life protecting their paycheck, a few flip the. They don't save out of fear, they invest out of vision. They don't see credit as debt, they use it as leverage. They don't hoard cash in banks, they make banks work for. And that's the paradox that the system hides at all costs. The same rules that keep the majority trapped are the rules that a minority twists to buy freedom. Inflation? To most, it's the silent thief. To those at this level, it's fuel, because their assets grow faster than prices rise. Debt? To most, it's a shackle. Here, it's a ladder. Time? To most, it's a race against exhaustion. Here, it's an ally, because even while they sleep, their money multiplies. And let me ask you, doesn't that make you furious? That schools, banks, even governments never showed you this? If it does, drop a comment right now with just one word: angry. Because every comment pushes this truth to another person who's still chained. The scandal is this: the game was never about working harder, it was about playing different. But no one tells you, because if everyone knew, the pyramid of obedience would collapse overnight. The 6th level is where you stop rowing against the current and discover the hidden stream that carries you downstream. The rules didn't change, you did. And that's what terrifies the system most. Most people think the hardest part is getting rich. They're wrong. The hardest part is staying there. Because when you finally break free from the chains of survival and enter the higher levels of wealth, a new prison appears, not made of numbers, but of emotion: greed, fear, ego. These 3 destroy more fortunes than any economic crisis ever could. History is full of people who reach the top, only to lose everything in months. Why? Not because the formula stopped working, but because they stopped working on themselves. They thought they were invincible. They chased luxuries they didn't need, followed financial fads, trusted the wrong people, and suddenly, the freedom they fought for turned back into a golden cage. And here's the paradox. After tasting real abundance, many voluntarily chain themselves again. They sell assets, they run back to the false safety of a paycheck, they bury their money in dead accounts. They fear losing more than they ever desired winning. That's why this chapter isn't just about money, it's about control. The invisible wall of abundance tests your discipline, your patience, your ability to say no when the world screams yes. And here's a quick reality. If this part already feels like a slap in the face, hit that like button right now. Not for me, but because it tells YouTube's system that people are finally ready to hear the truth that no one dares to. This is the cruel irony. Reaching wealth is math. Keeping it is psychology. And most fail here, not because they lack money, but because money amplifies who they really are. So here's the truth no one tells you. Most people will never escape the first level, not because they're lazy, not because they're incapable, but because they quit in the silent part, before the curve bends, before their money gets heavy enough to roll on its own. They give up when sacrifice feels endless, when progress looks too small, when the system whispers, "Stay where you are. It's safer here." But you don't have to quit. You don't have to stay trapped in survival, or in false comfort, or in stability that's nothing but a slow death. The snowball only starts rolling if you push long enough. The system only cracks when you refuse to obey its script. And the future only changes when you decide that your money will no longer control you. You will control it. That's the moment wealth stops being theory and becomes inevitable. And here's my challenge. Look at your own life and ask yourself brutally, what level are you really in? Not the one you'd like to believe, the one your decisions prove. Comment it below, because your honesty could be the spark that frees someone else still trapped in the first level. And if this video woke something inside you, if it made you question the lies you were told about money, then don't just leave. Subscribe now, because the next video will take this even further, and missing it might mean staying stuck while others break free. Every person who subscribes is proof that not everyone is asleep, and maybe, just maybe, you're one of the few ready to rewrite the game.